Good afternoon, doctors and friends. We are from SGDB6 and today we are presenting our student project titled Spondylosis Spine Degeneration. Here are the members of our group. So, spondylosis refers to the degenerative wear and tear conditions that affect elements of the spine, including the vertebral bodies, intervertebral disc, facet joints, and other connective tissue structures in the area. There are two most common varieties of spondylosis, namely cervical and lumbar spondylosis. The condition is associated widely with some clinical presentations such as generalized pain, mechanical pain, functional disorders, and limitations on all movements related to the spine. These conditions will ultimately amount to immobilization and finally disabilities. By the age of 50 years, 80 to 90% of the population have shown signs of this degeneration, which may be problematic in achieving the optimal quality of life.
My name is Shanti Dewi with my student number 142. All the pain and other inconveniences due to the spondylosis progression will cause many disturbances to daily lives, as it limits one's functional ability related to the vertebrae. So, chronic disabilities can happen, and then the productivity rate will also decrease as the movements are limited. Social gatherings, familial roles are luxuries they can't afford considering the pain, so the participation will be limited to some extent. And all these could produce negative impacts to the patient's mental well-being, not to mention the high healthcare and then the societal cost. Therefore, the student project is created with the purpose of getting more people to understand spondylosis and how serious it is. So these are the details about the formulation of the problems, and then these are the proposals, and then the benefits of the student project. Thank you.
My name is Joko Destrakanti Pemayon with student number 252. Spondylosis is a degenerative disease that causes changes within component of the spine, including intervertebral disc, muscle, ligament, bone, or any combination of these structures. Spondylosis may occur along in any area of the spine, predominantly in the lumbar part. There are 4 characteristics of spondylosis. 1. Spinal symptoms such as nerve root compression, spinal cord compression, or joint pain. 2. Ossified or hypertrophied and affected ligament. 3. Facet hypertrophy due to repeated strain on the spine. 4. Osteophyte formation as a result of degenerative changes in the spine. Okay, thank you. Next.
Hello, doctor and friends. My name is Dina Ulisida Uruk, student number 165. I will explain about the epidemiology of spondylosis. Spondylosis is present in all races and geographies with many possible etiologies and variety of incidents around the world. Although there are no definite data on the incidence or prevalence of spondylosis in the world, age was positively associated with spondylosis and low back pain. Here, the prevalence of spondylosis in some places. A global survey shows that the prevalence of lumbar, cervical and lumbar, low back spondylitis, and osteoarthritis with spondylosis in urban area Bikaner district, respectively, were 2.53%, 1.12%, 1.12%, 0.56%, and 0.56%. Cervical spondylosis is frequently encountered in spinal practice. It was estimated that 1.6 per 100,000 inhabitants is surgically treated with cervical spondylotic myelopathy. Lumbar spondylosis is more common among the middle-aged and elderly. It was found that yearly 266 million individuals, or 3.63% worldwide, are diagnosed with lumbar degenerative spine disease. Europe was estimated with the highest incidence, while Africa was estimated with the lowest one. Thank you.
Hello, doctor and friends. My name is Inul Putu Satwata Daptri, student number 224, and I'll continue explaining the cause and risk factor for spondylosis. As a result of human growth through aging process, spinal discs receive the impact in form of becoming dry and having commenced to shrink. This impact can result in a reduction of cushion between spinal discs, developing duly cracks and bone spurs, additional growth. Stiffness also occurs in the ligaments connecting the bones. When this occurs, pressure is added from the shrink disc and bone spurs to the spinal cord and nerve roots. This pressure will result in joint pain and limited range of motions. Risk factor for spondylosis are people who is used to having bad posture, people with heavy working duties such as lifting weight, professional dancers, gymnastic, martial arts people, and etc. Thank you.
My name is Jennifer Jasna Gunawan with student number 068. Today I will explain about the pathophysiology of cervical spondylosis. Cervical spondylosis is a degenerative disease that could be caused by aging or trauma. Degeneration of intervertebral discs begins with loss of hydration or moisture, also known as desiccation. As a result, nucleus pulposus lost its elasticity and shrinks. Thus, peripheral discs would bear a higher proportion of weight, which will cause lower disc height and bulging of annulus to the vertebral canal. Hypertrophy of facet joints caused by transfer of axial load may cause facet joint osteoarthritis and further decrease the diameter of spinal canal. Due to pain from disc herniation or annular protrusion, degenerative changes or increased ligamentous laxity, abnormal cervical movements may occur. Osteophytes' growth can be accelerated by increasing joint motion, which is why C5, C6, and C6, C7 are the most often affected by spondylosis. Along with degenerative changes, it contributes in decreasing the sagittal spinal canal diameter.
Hello, my name is Anna Agung Putri Smedania, number 195, so I will explain about symptoms of spondylosis. The first symptoms are usually dull pain and joint stiffness in your lower back and hips, also numbness, hypersensitivity, and impairment of the fine motor performance of arms. The pain may initially only be felt on one side. This pain and stiffness usually improves with exercise and then worsen with rest. Fatigue may also be a symptom as the body deals with the inflammation, but for most people, spondylosis has no symptoms. Thank you.
My name is April, student number 237. So there are some types of physical examination used to diagnose spondylosis, such as Huffman sign, Spurling signs, and Lhermitte signs, which detects the pain points, stiff muscle, spasm, lumps, or area of inflammation. As for imaging system, X-ray are usually used to detect loss of this height. Meanwhile, MRI is widely used for imaging to diagnose spondylosis by having more advantage, such as direct imaging in multiple plane, better definition of neuronal elements, better accuracy in evaluating intrinsic spinal cord disease, and also non-invasive.
Hello everyone, my name is Dehi Sutari, student number 173. There are some conditions caused by impairment of motor neurons and or joints, tendon, or ligament that have similar symptoms with spondylosis. Those conditions are: number 1, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis or ALS. It is characterized by continuous degeneration of motor neurons, drooping of the head and shoulders, atrophy and muscle twitch of the tongue, dysarthria, and dysphagia. Number 2, rotator cuff tear. This condition affects the patient's shoulders elevation due to lost strength of their bicep and supinator muscle. Shoulder provocation test can be done in order to help make a diagnosis. Lastly is Herrmann-Disease. Unilateral atrophy of the muscle of the upper extremity is a special characteristic of this condition. Unlike spondylosis that is commonly found in middle-aged to elderly individuals, this disease is commonly found in young 15 to 25 years old individuals. MRI in neck flexion can help make a diagnosis.
Hello doctor and friends, my name is Vindu Friendly Valentine with student number 086. Management of spondylosis cases can be non-operative, including medical administration, physiotherapy, and can be an operative action. The goals of non-operative action are to reduce pain, help to maintain normal activities, and prevent further damage. In mild cases, wearing cervical collar can help limiting neck movement and reduce nerve irritation. Furthermore, consuming painkiller to reduce pain and performing exercise instructed by the physical therapist to stretch your neck and your shoulder. In several cases, neck traction for a week or two help reduce pressure on the spinal cord. If neck muscle spasm occur, take painkiller and muscle or nerve relaxant. Moreover, injection of a corticosteroid drug around the disc and nerve between the vertebra combined with a local anesthetic can help reduce pain and inflammation. Another management is operative action. The indication for operative action are a failure of the non-operative method, persistent or recurrent with or without neurological deficit, or progressive neurological deficit. There are two methods of operative action, namely anterior approach and posterior approach. Each approach used must be adjusted to the nerve structure that is being compressed. Until recently, both approaches were widely used, but there is still much debate about which technique is better. Thank you.
Hello doctor, my name is Vanessa L, number 121. Anterior cervical discectomy and fusion, posterior cervical fusion, and anterior cervical corpectomy and fusion may cause complication for patient. We classified the complications into anterior spine procedures and posterior spine procedures. Based on a case control study that is done by Tasho, the majority of complications that occur from anterior spine cervical procedures are self-limiting and rarely require surgical intervention. The complications include postoperative dysphagia, dysphonia, hoarseness, vertebral artery injury, adjacent segment disease, esophageal perforation, unintended duotomy, postoperative airway obstruction due to oedeme and hematoma affirmation, and atrial septal defect. Meanwhile, the posterior spine procedures such as posterior cervical laminectomy, laminoplasty, and posterior cervical fusion may cause complications like unstable spinal segmental kyphosis, shoulder pain and muscle spasms, neck pain, delayed C5 nerve root injury, motion loss of range, blood loss, infection, and wound complication.
My name is Tiara with number 105. As for the prognosis, the worst case of cervical spondylosis could result in spondylitis myelopathy, which is a condition where the spinal cord is depressed. There are 6 factors affecting the prognosis. The first factor is age. The age factor is divided into 3 categories, which is under 40 years old, which have the best prognosis, then 40 to 60 years old, and last is above the age of 16, which have the worst age group prognosis. The next factor will be intrinsic cord change, the symptoms duration, number of cord depression, neurological disability, assessed with neuric grade. The patient with shorter symptoms duration, less number of cord depression, and lower neuric grade also present better improvement. Last, for canal diameter, patients with canal diameter lower than 10 millimeters would have worse prognosis. Thank you.
Good afternoon, doctor. My name is Adegita Pramesti, student number 044. Now I'm going to conclude the topics about spondylosis. So spondylosis is defined as degenerative disease that causing changes within the component of the spine, including the intervertebral discs, muscle, ligaments, or any other structure. Spondylosis may present in all races and geographies with many possible etiologies and a variety of incidents around the world. The first symptom that usually appear is dull pain and joint stiffness that located in the lower back and hips. These symptoms may improve with exercise and get worse during rest. The management that can be done of spondylosis can be done through operative and non-operative actions. To avoid more serious and major complication, either mild or severe spondylosis must be taken seriously. Okay, I think we're from SJD Basics. Thank you for your time and attention. I would like to apologize if there are any mistakes. Have a nice day. Thank you.